Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Madison. My name is Charles McClymans, and I'm the club president, and it's great to have you out here today as we, on the first day of spring, go back to winter. We do not have a meeting sponsor today, but it's just a reminder that your name, your company's logo could be up there. So talk to Melanie, right? But we do have some opening music, and Ellis Waller and Dick Lovell are going to lead us in singing My Country 'Tis of Thee. Ellis on the bagpipes in honor of St. Patrick's Day, right, Ellis? Very good.
Okay, quick introduction. Ellis is going to play it through first so you all can get tuned to the bagpipe when we sing it through the second time. And the other advantage of the first time is if you happen to be British or something else, this can be God Save the King as he plays it through the first time. So Ellis, let's go for it. Land of the pilgrim's pride, on every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Sorry about that. Oh, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It just broke.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Ellis. Oh, that's a lot of wind to expend, isn't it, Ellis? All right.
Nice job. Nice job.
Terry Anderson is going to come up and introduce today's guest. Terry?
Good afternoon. Thank you, President Charles. We have guests with us today, so if you will give your attention to the meeting room and ask our guests to please stand as your name is called, and please remain standing until all the guests have been introduced, and then we will recognize you as a group. Ashley Klutwick is a guest of Alex Vitania. Samantha Rubin is our guest speaker today and will be formally introduced in a bit. Joseph Kandua is a guest of Jeff Burkhart. Trish Yacarino is a guest of Joy Cardine. Rob Starbuck is a guest of Joy Cardine. Greg Yacarino is a guest of Joy Cardine. Ann Norman is a guest of Alex Vitania. Ashley Kuba is a guest of the program committee. Monica Wagner is a guest of the program committee. Brandon Fu is a guest of the RIA committee. Vern Stenman is a guest of Alex Vitania. Scott Primesberger is a guest of Alex Vitania. And we have one visiting Rotarian with us today, James Zerbel from Madison West Middleton. These are our guests.
welcome to all of our guests and our visiting Rotarian as well from the far west side. Braden Fu is our Rotary Youth Exchange student. Braden, you have a report, right? Come on up here. Tell us what you've been up to lately.
Sure. Thank you. Hi, my name is Braden. I'm an exchange student from Thailand. Thank you. For people who don't know me yet, I'm an exchange student that's sponsored by Rotary Club of Madison Downtown and Madison Club of After Hours. This is my third time on the stage and still excited. Okay. All right. Today I'm going to talk about what did I do in the winter season in the past few months. Next, please. I got 2 chances to go snowboarding. Thank you so much to Brian Chan, who gave me rides and covered all of the fees in the second times. And thank you to Rotary for covering all of the fees in the first time as my birthday gift. Next, please. I had a chance to participate in Rotary Ethics Symposium with the other exchange student from city around Madison. And currently, we are working with Bob Schumacher to bring the Rotary Ethics Symposium to TriCon for other exchange students to learn about it. By the way, I'm participating in a polio fundraiser called Pound the Pavement at TriCon. If you would like to donate it to this polio fundraiser, you will find a paper on your table with information. Yeah, right there. Next, please. MSCR basketball season was just over. Me and my teammates got 3rd place in tournament. And yeah, that's my teammates over there. You might not see me in a second, just like a little over there. Yeah. Thank you to Darren Harris and his wife, Dawn, for hosting me on that weekend. I had a very wonderful time with you both, and they kept me well fed for all the energy I needed to play. Thank you. Next, please. In the beginning of March, I had a chance to go to Chicago, and Janine took me to stay with her brother's family, including Kadu, an exchange student from Brazil, that her brother's family is hosting right now. Chicago was just like in the movies, big tall buildings, big city, big road, and I'm glad that I had Chicago pizza too. It's like thick one. There's a picture over there. And thank you so much to Janine for this amazing experience. Thank you so much. Next, please. Oh, that's it. Sorry. Okay. Okay, for spring break, I'm going to Arkansas with my host family. Currently, I'm staying with Juliet Page. And then continue with a Rotary Youth Exchange East Coast with Bella Tour. So I'm going to New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. If you want to know about this of my journey, please follow our next talk on May 22nd. It's going to be my last presentation. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Braden. Glad you're enjoying your time here in Madison and the Midwest. Our President-elect Jason Ilstrup is going to come up, and he has an announcement about as he prepares for his upcoming year as president.
Thank you, Oscar. That shout out was acknowledged. I just want to say something to Braden. This is my 100th time on stage, and I'm still excited. Never lose your generous and positive spirit. You are a breath of fresh air. Thank you for what you do. This club is only as good as its members, and I think we should acknowledge Alex today, because apparently during the recognition, half of you in this room right now are guests of Alex. So thank you, Alex, for bringing Ann and a whole team, right? You even brought the big boss here. Hello, Vern. Vern, Thank you for everything you do for downtown. You are the best. All right, speaking of the best, this club is only as good as you all being active and engaged. And two ways to do that is in committees or fellowships. So this last week, you should have received an email with the list of the committees and fellowships that you are currently on. Before we prepare for my reign in July 1, it's really not going to be that bad. You might kill me at the end of it, but we need you to fill out the sheets to know what you're interested in doing for the next Rotary year, which starts on July 1. So there are copies that were sent to you as well, and there are copies on the back table right next to the president-elect. How many elects are you? Perfect. Anthony Gray. There's a yellow and gray form, so please do fill these forms out so we know. And for all the new members, or all of Alex's guests who are about to become new members, the fellowships and the committees are a great way to make this large group a much smaller group and really build the friendship and goodwill that you need to build for this club to succeed. So please do fill out those forms, and we'll see you all on July 1.
Yeah, but Jason, that assumes I'm leaving on June 30th. Stranger things have happened, you know. Joyce Bromley is going to come up, and she is going to tell us about some nominations that she'd like to have.
Thank you, President Charles. Your Membership Recognition Committee will be meeting very soon. Our task is to recognize members for their extraordinary service to our club in one of 6 areas. That includes service to the club, service to the community, to youth programs, to the international programs, for sharing their vocation, or for a leading commitment for the advancement of DEI. We ask you to help us identify members who have generously served with their time and their talents. Nomination forms are on your table and at the table at the entrance. I invite you to take a form with you. To assist you sometime before April 1st, read pages 59 through 61 in the membership roster book for a description of the awards and past recipients. Let us know who you believe is missing from this list. Submit your nomination form to the Rotary office by post, by email, or by text, and importantly, by April 1st. The Membership Recognition Committee will also consider nominations for the Joseph G. Warner Award. On behalf of the Membership Recognition Committee, thank you, and we look forward to receiving your nominations. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce, to you and the committee. And our poet laureate, Oscar Mireles, is in the house, so he's going to come up and share a reflection with us. Come on up, Oscar.
And this is my 30th time up here, and I'm still excited to be speaking in front of you. Today's reflection is titled pretty simply, Does a Rotary Scholarship Make a Difference? Does a Rotary Scholarship make a difference? I had a chance to serve in the Downtown Madison Rotary Club Scholarship Committee over a half dozen times. We meet amazing high school students who have overcome both personal and economic challenges during their teen years and demonstrated the necessary grit and fortitude to not only earn a high school credential, but to succeed exceedingly well through their final high school years. But does the Rotary Scholarship make a difference? I know, being a Rotary mentor, I can see close up and see that difference. This year, I have a first-year, first-generation college student in his family named Elliot. He is biracial, and he went to Madison East High School. He was a high school wrestler And many of you are aware that my sons were both wrestlers, and the NCAA championship is this weekend, so in Kansas City. I wish I still might go down there. But we met over this past weekend, and we learned a couple of things. One, while cell phones are literally computers, they do have some limitations. Young people don't always realize that. Fortunately, we were able to access his college transcripts and get the necessary paperwork done to secure his scholarship funds for the second semester. He got stuck trying to do it on his phone and stopped trying. The second lesson we learned is that we all need mentors. Whether we call them by that name, we have had people in all of our lives that have mentored us. He was afraid of bothering me, and that's why he didn't reach out. Thanks to a nudge from the Rotary office, we were able to connect and get this resolved. It was not a lot that I did, except just be available for his questions. The third lesson we learned is life always changes and oftentimes sends you a curveball. So it is about adjusting and adapting to the constant changes in his life. Elliot plays football for a small community college in Iowa, which is nationally ranked. He started school early last summer to get on campus and practice during the summer. He got a lot of repetitions and was excited about the football season starting. However, the first day of fall camp, because he had added strength and weight, they switched his position from linebacker to defensive end. Instead of competing for a starting position, he had to spend the semester relearning the playbook. It took a little while, but he adjusted and now is ready for next season. Why am I telling you this? Rotary Mentoring Committee is always in need of mentor scholars. While I help my children get through college, working with Elliot has been a joy. He is willing to listen, and despite the various challenges, willing to take my advice, which my children didn't always. This experience has given me far more enjoyment than I could have imagined. I also want to extend a shout out to the Rotarians who have created these scholarship friends. Nathan Brand, Dick Goldberg, Irving and Dorothy Levy family, especially Marvin Levy and his brother, Regina Milner, David Warzala, the Kay family, and Mike and Patty Wilson. Let's give them a round of well-deserved applause.
That's great. Thank you, Oscar. And we are still looking for scholar mentors, right? Yep, we are. So you can sign up. Rotary 101, we have next week, come early, for our Rotary 101 session. It's going to be all about our scholarships. We give away this year $475,000 in scholarships. So come early, grab a cup of coffee. We'll start at 11:15, and especially for those of you who are new, it's a great way to learn about what is one of the central aspects of our philanthropy of this club. On to birthdays. Ellis, are you playing happy birthday today? Okay, great. March 18th is Joe Bartol. March 18th, Scott Forrester. The 18th, also Sean Morrison. The 19th, past president and past district governor Perry Henderson. March 19th, Dan Larson. And the 19th, past president Tim Stottleman. March 21st, Peter Gray says, "One thing I love about Rotary is that Rotarians give 100% except when they're donating blood." Okay, so reminder, do we still have the Vampire Fellowship? I think we did have. No, it was called the Vampire Fellowship for those who give blood. I think we do still. All right. March 21st, Tim Muldowney. March 23rd, Joan Collins. March 23rd, Janine O'Rourke. We thank these Rotarians for their contributions to our Synergy Scholarship Fund, and let's wish them a happy birthday. Thank you, Alice. Members in the news, congratulations to Rhonda Adams, who was a 2024 Athena Award nominee. She was also quoted in the Middleton Times along with Ellen Carlson about the increase in demand at the Dane County food pantries. Calvin Barrett was quoted in the InBusiness.com article on the groundbreaking ceremony for the Dane County Jail. Roberta Gassman has been appointed to the Wisconsin Judicial Commission. And congratulations to Lou Harned, who received the Commander's Award for Public Service on March 15th from the 54th Civil Support Team. And Joe Lenas was pictured and quoted in a Madison 365 article. The Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra's Harmony in Black plants seeds of possibility in contemporary classical music. So Rotarians doing great things in the community. Thank you. And on to our program. Today we're going to hear from Samantha Rubin, who's the General Madison of the Madison Mallards. As a Florida native, she grew up playing softball and was the captain of her high school softball team. During her time at the University of Florida, she was a rower and won a national championship her senior year. She's entering the third year with the Mallards and the first female general manager in Mallards history, as well as the first general manager ever of Madison Softball. Samantha's going to come up and share some new details about the softball team coming to Madison. Samantha, we look forward to your presentation, and we've made a gift in your honor to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund. Yes. And we will have question and answer, yes, time permitting. Yes. So let's welcome Sam to the stage.
Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? Good? I love interactive groups. They make it so much more fun. All right, so how many of you guys, while we get everything set up on our end, how many of you guys have been to a Mallards game? I should see every single hand in here. Yes? I hope so. How many of you guys have heard about Madison Softball? Oh, wow. That's a good amount. I did something similar yesterday, and I think I saw like 5 hands come up for softball. There you go. Perfect. All right. So what I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to start off with just a little bit of background about who I am. So, we good? Yeah? Let's go. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get the sound going, but... All right, so just going to kind of start off. So, yep, right there. Amazing. So I am a Florida native. I moved to Wisconsin in December of 2021. Came up for an interview in the summer, went to a Mallards game, and then moved here in December. So it was a very rude awakening, that's for sure. Went to UF, I was a rower there, and I knew that sports was always what I wanted to do. In some way, shape, or form, I knew that was my plan. So I took an internship with a baseball team out in Maryland, hopped in my car, drove there, didn't know anyone, and was actually a sales and marketing intern in the 2019 season for this team in Maryland. All of us got to be the mascot, which was always a fun job. Everyone has to be a mascot at some point in their life. I firmly believe that. And I was lucky. I was hired full-time at the end of that internship. That was in 2019, and then as we all know, we were hit with a very loving global pandemic. So fortunately, I was one of 3 on staff that was kept. Everyone else in our staff was furloughed. We had a staff of about 20 at that point. And as I'm sure you can all imagine, a lot of balls were were dropped at that point in time. So during that time, I kind of just took it upon myself to figure it out. And I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about the community out in Maryland, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so during COVID, we did all of the drive-by graduations and the drive-by proms and held movies at the ballpark and had little squares that were 10 feet apart or whatever it was. And it was the craziest summer. I don't think I've ever worked that much or that hard in my entire life. There were 2 of us actively doing these. But that's the moment, and that summer was the moment I knew I was ready to go. After the 2021 season, I was ready to start applying and looking for some new stuff, and was lucky to apply to a job out here and was offered a role with the Mallards. And so people don't ever know what a GM does for a minor league baseball team. They think that they recruit players, kind of like what the Brewers GM does. I don't. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to recruit players. I don't want to work with lawyers. I don't want to talk about contracts. I want to be in the community. I want to have fun. I want to watch a kid eat an ice cream cone. Like, that to me is fun, right? Contracts and lawyers and millions of dollars, not super into it. So all these things that you see, that's what I do for both the Mallards and for softball, which is now coming to Madison, which is really exciting. So I'll go super quick about just a little bit on the Mallard season this past year, and then we'll talk the rest of the time that I have, whatever that is, all about softball. So just a quick recap on 2023. We had over 220,000 fans through the gates at the Mallards games last year. We are the #1 summer collegiate baseball team in the entire country. Yeah. In addition to that, we also rank in the top 15 when you put us up in attendance up against all levels of minor league baseball. So AAA, AA, single A, all the levels of minor league, we land in the top 15, which is amazing. So super proud of the Mallards and what we've built and what we've done. We've rebounded since COVID. We've done above and beyond what we thought last year, and we plan to do the same thing in 2024. Just one more quick thing about some marketing that we did for the Mallards. We have grown significantly on social media. We have a new team running our social media this year. He started about 1.5 years ago, and he has fully taken on a voice of the Mallards. If you don't follow us, you definitely should. It is always funny. There's always something funny going on. We like to do crazy and unique things, as most of you guys know. You guys have all probably been to a game. I'm sure some of you guys were there when we built the world's largest old-fashioned. Yes? No? There, yeah. We built an old-fashioned, 325 gallons, and then we fed it to the fans, so it was awesome. I don't know. We're not doing it again this year. In addition to the world's largest old-fashioned, we created a duck boot, Das Duck Boot, and so it's 67 ounces of beer. So you can purchase a boot, get it refilled. We also have a boot full of food, so you can get a boot of beer and a boot of food, and you're set for the rest of the game. You don't even need anything else. All right, so now that I'm done with the Mallards, we're talking softball. So what we are trying to figure out now is what our fan base was. So when we talked about launching a softball team in Madison, it was pretty set we wanted to do this. Madison, we think, is the best women's sports city in the country right now. We think that, between Badgers women hockey, who play tomorrow, play sometime with the Final Four, with UW volleyball, UW softball, all of the women's sports teams at UW that are successful. There's also a professional volleyball league that's coming into Madison as well. We're adding softball. There's talk of a women's soccer team. There's all these different things that are coming to Madison that are focusing on women's sports, and we want to be a part of that. We want to be on the forefront of that. We're noticing that our demographic for softball is a little bit different than our Mallards fans, which we kind of like. When we talked about this, we weren't really sure what we were doing. Are we just creating a copy and paste of the Mallards? Like, are we creating a new fan base? What are we doing with this? And we want our fans to be different. We want to hit different demographics in the Madison community. And so we're noticing that we're a little bit more diverse, we're a little bit more inclusive, and we're a little bit more loyal, which is awesome. I'm sure that if I asked any one of you guys what Mallards game you came to last year and who we played, not a single one of you could give me an answer, right? Or who won, for that matter. Yes? Probably not. Softball fans like that. Softball fans were noticing they care about who we're signing, they care about who our coach is, and we think that they're going to care about how we do on the field, which is really exciting. We don't have that for the Mallards. And so to be able to provide that different opportunity for a different subset of fans is something we're really excited to do. So back in January was when we announced what we were doing, so we're cutting it all really close. We play in June. So we announced in January, and they were all just kind of random one-off emails that we sent out over the holidays, honestly. We didn't really know what our turnout was going to be. We knew we'd have some press coverage and that sort of thing. We filled a room. We had at least 100 people there. We were really excited, and from that moment, we knew what we had on our hands was a success. We knew that we were going to do this, and we were going to do it well, and the Madison community was going to embrace it. And so we had the mayor in support. We had our owner in support. Of course, all of our staff in support, and it was such a cool event to be able to launch a women's team in Madison. The one thing that I also haven't talked about is our team and our schedule and what that looks like. And so, women's collegiate softball does not really exist in the country right now. So there are some development teams that are based down in Florida, down in the South, where it's a little bit warmer, but they do not sell tickets. They don't have the boots, they don't have the beer, they don't have they don't have the fun that comes with the minor league baseball and comes with the Mallards. And so by doing this and creating this league and creating this team here in Madison, we're one of the first. We are the first league doing this, which is really, really awesome to be able to give the opportunity to women that men have had since forever. Summer collegiate baseball has existed, I should know this, I don't know, a long time, right? This is new. 2024 will be the first time that there will ever be a minor league baseball atmosphere for summer collegiate softball, which is incredible to be able to have Madison be on the front of that. We play 21 home games, 21 games on the road. There are 4 teams in the league total, so it's us, La Crosse, Wisconsin, Mankato, Minnesota, and Minot, North Dakota, so a little bit of travel in year 1. And the response from players and from coaches has been incredible. It sounds like softball coaches have been asking for something like this for a really long time, and to be able to provide that is what we're looking for. That's what we want. So we did a name the team contest, and we had over 8,000 people enter in a name and vote on what our name should be. Our voting closed yesterday, so it's official. We have a name. It's very exciting. And we will be announcing that in April. I'll talk about the event that we're holding. But the response on all of these events and all of these voting has been incredible. The media coverage was amazing. We had people go live at this press conference that we held back in January. People were just so excited about the opportunity. So, why softball? We kind of talked about that a little bit, but the women's sports movement is moving forward at an incredible rate. We owe a lot of that to teams in Madison. We owe a lot of that to some incredible athletes at different schools. And we owe a lot of that to the fact that we're doing new things just like this. We've actually done a ton of research on what women's sports watchers are looking for, and they're significantly more loyal, just like we talked about the fan base that we're finding on our end. So we've done a ton of market research and studies and that sort of thing, and people who associate brands with a women's team are 62% more likely to support that brand, whatever it is, because they're supporting something that's on the rise, that might not be as high or as big exposure currently, but is moving in that direction. So many more athletes are being recognized in the women's sports movement. We have the women's national team on the soccer side. Softball is continuing to grow and become more diverse as a sport, and the ability to do that is incredible. So with softball coming in, we have a few tweaks that need to come to the stadium. The softball team will play at the Mallards Stadium, which is very exciting. And so currently, our field is being torn apart, and we are getting turf. So the infield of the stadium will be turf. We will have different spots in the turf to be able to set the field to different sizes. So softball plays on a little bit of a smaller field than baseball does, and so we'll have the ability to set the stage or set the field to fit whatever team is playing. That also creates the opportunity for youth as well. We've never really been able to hold a ton of youth tournaments because we've never had the right dimensions to the field. And so Madison East, Madison La Follette, and Edgewood High School have all played baseball at the Mallards Stadium as their home field for years. We hope to grow that next year for softball, now that we'll be able to have that ability to set the field to their dimension. Again, same thing with youth. We're holding our very first youth tournament in June, I believe, so baseball and softball youth tournaments. Same with field rentals. The ability that this turf is creating for us is incredible. We're so excited to just be able to hold more things and to connect more with different communities, and we're seeing this be a little bit more regional as well. We're now getting teams from down in Beloit that want to come up to a softball game or want to come play a tournament with us. We're getting teams from Chicagoland and Milwaukee and all the suburbs kind of a little bit farther away that might not be super interested in a Mallards game. They're all interested in softball, so they're all coming here to watch that. We believe that this year we'll hold over 150 community events, so what we were talking about, the tournaments, the field rentals, the high school games, that sort of thing, and that's with us being under construction right now. Typically, the high school seasons would start in about a week, and they have moved off-site for this year for us to construct the field. Next year, I think that number will grow even more, past 150. So this is all, some of this stuff hasn't even been released to the public, so you guys are really in the know here. So I want to talk a second about our head coach. So we have brought in Raquel Savoy. She is from California. She was a head coach at Santa Clara, and she also was an assistant coach at Cal Berkeley. And so she has taken our very first head coaching job, which is very exciting, and she is incredible. If any of you guys come, which I hope you guys come to some softball games, you guys will love her. Her big thing is developing not only the athlete on the field, but developing the person outside the athlete. So we've already told her all these clinics that we want to do and all these camps we want softball players to attend. She's like, well, yeah, of course. I'm like, oh, even better, make my job easier. So she plans to send our players and our athletes into the community tenfold. It's going to be so exciting to be able to get these players to softball practices and to give lessons and clinics, whether it be at the stadium or at the home field of whatever the youth team is. So Raquel has been announced to the public. Our players have not. So you guys are, again, in the know, which is very exciting. So we have signed our first 4 players to the team. The first one I want to talk about is Hillary Blomberg. So she is a freshman at the University of Wisconsin. She is currently leading the team in batting average, and she was our very first player signed. She is a triplet, and her twin of the triplets, I don't know, one of them also plays softball at North Dakota State, named Addison. And so we signed them both, and they both grew up in Verona. And so it was very fitting for us to have our very first 2 softball athletes be local to the Madison community, and for one of them to play at UW. The other 2, we have signed another local player, Danielle Lucy, also a player at UW-Madison, also from the Madison community as well. And then we've signed someone named Bella, and she is actually slated to be drafted in the softball professional league. So if she gets drafted, unfortunately she won't play for us, but that's the caliber of athlete that we are looking to get here in Madison. We want the best of the best. We want the best of the best from all levels. We plan to work with Madison College. We plan to work with all the local teams and local schools to get some of their players. Obviously UW is already very well represented, which is very exciting, but we want to work with everyone. Our coach is going after some Cal players. Our coach is going after some SEC players. We want the best of the best to come play here so that the league as a whole and the softball league as a whole continues to grow to be the best that it can be, and to be the only one in the country that grows at a pace that we're growing. So we talked about the name for a little bit. Our top four that were our final four, we had the Nightmares as 2 words, we had the Swamp Angels, we had the Lake Munsters, like Munster cheese, and the Thunder Chickens. And so, those were our final four. Voting closed yesterday. One of those 4 are our names. And to announce this, we are holding a huge event at the Orpheum. On April 20th, it will be 5 o'clock is when doors will open, and 5:30 is when the unveil will start. At the event, it's free, it's family friendly, we'll have face painters and animals and free snacks and a cash bar, merch, all the things. Our coach is planning to come as well, so you guys can all meet Raquel. We will have some of the UW players. The UW softball team actually has a game that day at home at 1 o'clock, so we're hoping that the timing works really well. But come meet the team, come meet the staff, come meet the players, and come check out what our name is and see what team you guys are supporting that are going to be next to the Mallards. That's all I got for you guys. So I think there's time for questions, right? Okay.
Over here.
Amazing.
Stand up, please. What's your name?
My name is James Zerbel.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right, so in terms of leadership, you're doing something really cool, really different. Have you lit a fire amongst all the other baseball parks? Are they already starting to look at you and say, hey, do we need to do this?
Like in the league, or like in the Northwoods League, or in general?
In general.
I don't know. I would hope so. I would think so, but I'm not sure. I know there are teams in the Northwoods League specifically that are interested in bringing this on in 2025. That's where our other 3 teams in the league have come from. So all 4 of the teams are current Northwoods League baseball participants as well. I would hope so. I mean, I think that this has become a pretty big story. The coaches are starting to get wind of what we're doing at the colleges and are getting really, really excited. We're starting to get a lot of really cool emails from these high-level coaches. And I got an email from Tim Walton. For those of you who don't know, he's the head coach at the University of Florida. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking to this guy. This is great. But I got an email from him saying, like, I heard about this and I want a player there, and what do I do? And I was like, oh God, that'd be awesome. So fangirling a little bit. But yeah, I think that coaches are starting to get wind of it. I think that in addition to the playing and the community, we plan to come up with a way to develop the athlete as a person too. So we're talking about doing an internship program for the athletes as well. A lot of these women are really passionate about what their next step is, and a lot of them it's not softball, and they know that. And their goals were to get to play at a college level and get a scholarship to play college softball. And they've all done that, and that's what they've done, and now they're wanting to know what their next step is. So we're coming up with some sort of marketing / sales / sports internship that they can participate in if they have interest in that, so that we can help them think about their next step as well. So I don't know if that answered your question. I don't know. I mean, I would like to think so. I do think that it will become a bigger thing at some point, and I think that if after this year, if 5 other softball leagues pop up and we have competition, like, I think that would be awesome.
Here.
Mary O'Brien. My grandson played part with the Mallards, and he was in college on and off. But and I was just wondering, do you look for host families to host some of these players that are coming in? Because
yeah,
we've done that in the past, and it's always been a really good experience.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, absolutely. So we look for host families for not only our baseball players, not only our softball players, but also our interns. So to be able to get a very competitive internship program, we were finding that a lot of people were turning us down because they could stay home and do something more local. And so we decided to open up our internship program to host families. So yes, our host families, love our host families. We could not do what we do without them. They support our players. They cook them meals sometimes and just make them as part of their family. And we've had host families come to me after their player is long gone and said that they were just in their old player's wedding or invited to the wedding and or have met their kids and all the things. So it's a really cool connection that's created for the rest of everyone's life.
Over here.
Hi, Sam. Thanks for your presentation. I'm Sarah Deteen, and I am wondering about practice facilities. At present, I would imagine, and with the inclement weather that we have here in Wisconsin, and yes, you're drawing from colleges to play in the summer, that sometimes you'd have to have practice facilities as well, and I think the only one at present is GRB Academy, and is there any plans to have another facility?
Not at the moment. So we currently do have a batting cage that is covered by our grandstand. So when it comes to pregame or any sort of batting practice, that is something that's able to be done at our facility currently. It's not indoors by any means, but it's fully covered by rain and elements, that sort of thing. When it comes to practice, I think that our coach has a really good plan as to what she wants to do. She's really, really regimented, which is very exciting, and so she has a very strict, this is when we're lifting, and this is when we're batting, and this is when we're hitting, and I think that she is used to the elements out in California and understanding what that looks like and creating backup plans. So we don't currently have a plan for a practice facility.
Hi, Sam. Fabulous presentation.
Thank you.
Obviously, a lot of excitement in the city, state, and beyond. I saw in your photos the Secretary of Tourism in many of your photos.
Yeah.
I was curious if the Office of Outdoor Recreation has started doing tourism revenue projections, if they've shared any of that with you, and if you know any of those numbers at this point.
Not to this point, nothing that I have been brought into a conversation about. I do think that, again, this is a significantly more regional team that's coming in, so we do think that that will come probably this year, and we don't fully know what the extent of that looks like. I think that there will absolutely be something, but I think it's something that is kind of ever-changing and fluid, and yeah, but we're working on it. Yeah.
Dick Lovell, you said that softball fans tend to be a little more serious and interested in who wins. Does that mean you'll have sort of a different atmosphere at the softball games, or is it going to be a different, something wild and different every inning like it is at the Mallards?
Yeah.
What's it going to be like?
Yeah, so we plan to have a very similar atmosphere to the Mallards, to the Mallards that we do for softball. So we'll still have all the kids, a lot of the kids stuff that we have for Mallards games. We'll still do all the crazy promotions and all the crazy fun stuff that comes with it. And I think that there's a nice balance of during the games and during the innings, focusing on the game and paying attention and that sort of thing, and then having that really fun family atmosphere in between the innings. So yeah, we will have all the promotions and all the fun stuff that goes along with it, and I think that's what really makes this whole entire thing super unique, is that these developmental leagues that exist down in Florida don't do anything. They are very much pod-based, it seems like. They play at seems like a Little League field, sort of, and just kind of rotate through and develop the players, and we want to create more of that minor league baseball atmosphere.
Over here.
Mike Casey, you mentioned a number of women's sports. Do you know the University of Wisconsin-Madison has a women's rowing team?
I do know that. I do.
That's all.
They were very good when I rowed, at least.
We have no question.
No question.
Yes, they do.
Oh, you asked me about it. That's good.
I did know that, yes. They were pretty good when I was in college.
Here.
One question, maybe it's a question for Vern, but name, image, likeness, are these payers being paid?
They are not being paid. So we have worked extensively on the Mallard side to try and understand NIL. We have been advised many times to not be involved, and so we will not at this point in time. I think that college sports is still trying to figure out NIL, and unfortunately every single university interprets NIL just a little bit differently. So what we could potentially one day do for one player, we could not do for another player at a different school. And so it creates this sort of confusion and line of what is available and what we can and can't do. We've asked about bringing our partners together with our players and doing some sort of like luncheon or banquet, and people have told us not to do that. And so we're kind of staying away from it. If the players come in with NIL and they want to participate in NIL on their own, we fully support that decision and support them in wanting to do that, but it's tough right now for us to figure out where we can play a role.
Over here.
Sam, will you have a...
Name?
Sandy Gaylor. It doesn't say to say your name. Sandy Gaylor.
I'd like to know who you are, Sandy.
Thank you. Will you have youth camps yet this year, or do you think it'll take a year?
Nope, we're doing youth camps this year.
Oh, perfect.
We have a few dates penciled in. We're still kind of figuring all that out. We're working with a ton of softball teams. So we are looking for softball teams to come out and play on the field. We're looking for softball teams for our players to go to and teach and clinic and run clinics there. And so we are working with a ton of them in the Madison community and already getting those set and scheduled and figured out. So yeah, once the field is done, which we think, fingers crossed, will be like the first week of May, we're full steam ahead.
Is that it?
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Great job, Sam. We appreciate your excitement for this. Now, we're Rotarians, so you can share the name with us, can't you? You know, we're Rotarians. Just tell them, you know, with a couple hundred of your closest friends. No, you won't do that? Did you know we also have a baseball fellowship?
I did not know that.
We do, and so maybe they would like to organize, you know, a trip to the Mallards, a Rotary trip to the Mallards. You could accommodate us?
Or to softball.
Or to softball, or both?
Or both. We
Right.
do it all. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Thanks for being with us today. And I hope you come back and join us next week when we will hear from Jim Lattis on the return of the corona, the total solar eclipse of April 8th, 2024. So it should be a very interesting program. So come back and join us next week. But before we leave, please stand, and we will recite the Rotary four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? We are adjourned.